Andrew, in his own restaurant wearing a MAGA hat, faces Slava's rude refusal of service. Patrons watch, phones record. Andrew's identity is revealed. He's the owner. Slava is fired, teaching everyone that respect conquers bias. He was branded a national disgrace the moment he stepped into the restaurant, wearing his red MAGA hat. No one bothered to find out who he really was. A cocky waiter scoffed at him, ignoring all rules of hospitality, while stunned patrons recorded every second on their phones. But when the truth about this so-called unwanted Republican finally came to light, the entire room fell silent in disbelief. What happened next shocked everyone, and that was only the beginning. Chest 1. Andrew walked into his own restaurant, Colibri, wearing a bright red MAGA hat. Usually, he showed up in a suit, but today he wanted to see firsthand how guests dressed in controversial attire would be treated. A young waiter named Slava spotted the hat and instantly grimaced. "Great, another one of those America fans?" he mumbled. Andrew politely asked for a table by the window. Slava handed him a menu with a dismissive toss, then strode off, making sure everyone saw his annoyance. Several patrons glanced over, sensing tension in the air. It was like they were waiting for a spark to ignite a full-on confrontation. 20 minutes passed. Still no order. Andrew waved at Slava, who approached and practically slammed down a cold cup of coffee. "We don't really like that kind of hat around here," Slava sneered. "That's hardly a reason to refuse service," Andrew replied calmly. Slava raised his voice so everyone could hear. "People like you are a disgrace," he shouted, pointing at Andrew's hat. A few customers pulled out their phones to record. Some looked like they might jump in, but Andrew stayed composed. "Get out," Slava barked, "or I'll get the manager." Other guests started whispering, "Isn't that the owner?" But Slava, blinded by anger, didn't catch on. He was bent on kicking out the unwelcome customer. Convinced he could handle things alone, Slava barged into the kitchen to demand the chef refuse to cook for the Republican in the red hat. Recognizing Andrew's name, the chef hurried out to the dining area. Spotting Andrew in the MAGA hat, the chef called out, "Mr. Belov, everything okay here?" A hush fell over the restaurant. Slava crept closer, suddenly realizing he'd been insulting his own boss. Phones were capturing every moment. "You're that awful Republican?" Slava stammered, going pale. Andrew stood, calmly adjusting his cap. "And you nearly trashed your employer's reputation," he said, voice steady. Slava broke into a sweat, scrambling for excuses, but Andrew pointed to the door. "In my restaurant, every customer is treated with respect. You're fired." The crowd broke into applause. Video spread on social media in real time. People couldn't wait to share how a rude waiter had just been exposed for insulting his own boss. Slava, red-faced, slunk away as a few patrons chuckled. Andrew removed his hat, smiled at the remaining guests, and then invited everyone to lunch on the house. "At Colibri, anyone can dine, whether you wear a MAGA hat or not," he declared. "Common courtesy is what matters." Applause and cheers erupted. That day, Colibri became more than just a popular restaurant. It stood as a reminder that prejudice can flip back on the one who dishes it out.